The stone dropped, dust swirled, a heavy silence fell over the courtyard. Daniel found himself plunged into darkness. The smell of animal musk filled his nostrils. He was trapped. Above, the stone was sealed. Daniel was alone with the lions. Fear threatened to consume him, but Daniel held on to his faith. He remembered God's promises. He would not be forsaken. He would not be alone. Daniel was a man of unwavering faith. His devotion to God was evident in every aspect of his life. From the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed, his thoughts were centered on his Creator. He lived a life of integrity and righteousness, always seeking to do what was right in the eyes of the Lord. 3 times a day, he knelt in prayer. Morning, noon, and night, Daniel would find a quiet place to commune with God. It didn't matter where he was or what he was doing, he always made time for prayer. This routine was not just a habit, but a lifeline, a way to stay connected to the divine. He faced Jerusalem, his heart lifted to God. The city represented the center of his faith, a place where God's presence dwelled. By facing Jerusalem, Daniel was reminded of God's promises and his covenant with his people. It was a gesture of hope and trust, a way to align his heart with God's will. This habit angered some men in the king's court. They saw Daniel's devotion as a threat to their own power and influence. They couldn't understand why he would risk so much for his faith. Their hearts were filled with envy and malice, and they began to plot against him. They were jealous of Daniel's favor with King Darius. The king admired Daniel for his wisdom and integrity, often seeking his counsel on important matters. This favoritism only fueled their jealousy, making them more determined to find a way to bring him down. They plotted to bring him down. They knew that the only way to do so was to attack his faith. They devised a plan to trap him, knowing that Daniel would never compromise his beliefs. Their scheme was cunning and deceitful, aimed at exploiting his unwavering devotion to God. They knew they could not find fault in his work. Daniel was diligent and meticulous in everything he did. His work was always of the highest quality, and he carried out his duties with honesty and dedication. There was no way to accuse him of any wrongdoing in his professional life. Daniel was a good and honest man. He treated everyone with kindness and respect, always willing to lend a helping hand. His character was beyond reproach, and his actions reflected his deep faith. People admired him for his integrity and the way he lived out his beliefs, so they focused on his faith. They knew that Daniel's commitment to God was unshakable. They believed that by targeting his religious practices, they could force him into a position where he would have to choose between his faith and his safety. It was a cruel and calculated move, designed to exploit his greatest strength. They knew Daniel would never abandon his God. His faith was the cornerstone of his life, the foundation upon which everything else was built. No matter what challenges or threats he faced, Daniel's trust in God remained steadfast. He was a man of prayer, and nothing could shake his devotion. The jealous men whispered in the king's ear. They were envious of Daniel's favor with the king and sought to bring him down. Their whispers were filled with deceit and malice, as they plotted to undermine Daniel's unwavering faith and loyalty. They knew that Daniel's devotion to his God was unshakable, and they intended to use it against him. "Make a decree," they urged, their voices dripping with false concern. "For 30 days let no one pray to any god but you, O king. This will ensure that your authority is recognized above all others." They played on the king's vanity, knowing that he would be flattered by the idea of being the sole object of worship in the kingdom. The decree was written with great care, every word crafted to ensnare Daniel. "For 30 days let no one pray to any god but you," it read. The men knew that Daniel's faith would compel him to continue his prayers, and they were ready to pounce the moment he did. King Darius, flattered by their words, agreed without hesitation. He saw the decree as a way to solidify his power and ensure the loyalty of his subjects. The idea of being the sole focus of worship appealed to his ego, and he did not see the trap that was being set for his most trusted advisor. With a confident expression, King Darius signed the decree into law. He believed that this would strengthen his rule and bring unity to his kingdom. Little did he know that this very decree would test the limits of his wisdom and justice. He did not realize he was walking into a trap. The king, in his desire for absolute power, had overlooked the true intentions of his advisors. They were not interested in his glory but in their own gain, and they were willing to sacrifice Daniel to achieve it. Daniel heard of the decree. The news spread quickly throughout the kingdom, and it was not long before it reached Daniel's ears. He understood the implications immediately, knowing that his daily prayers would now be considered an act of defiance against the king. But he did not waver. Daniel's faith was strong, and he was determined to remain true to his beliefs no matter the cost. He knew that his loyalty to God was more important than his own safety, and he was prepared to face whatever consequences might come. He went to his room, his heart filled with resolve. He knew that his actions would be watched closely, but he was not afraid. His faith gave him strength, and he was ready to stand firm in his convictions. He opened his window, facing Jerusalem. This was his daily ritual, a symbol of his unwavering devotion. The city of Jerusalem represented his spiritual home, and he turned towards it in prayer, seeking guidance and strength from his God. And he prayed, just as he always had. Daniel's prayers were a testament to his faith, a daily act of worship that he would not abandon, even in the face of danger. His devotion was unyielding, and he trusted that his God would see him through the trials ahead. The jealous men rushed to the king. "Your Majesty," they cried, "Daniel disobeys you, he prays to his God." Darius was heartbroken. He admired Daniel, he had tried to spare him, but the law was the law. Darius had no choice. He ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. He hoped desperately that Daniel's God would save him. He told Daniel, "May your God rescue you." The stone was rolled into place, darkness fell, the lions paced. But Daniel stood firm, he prayed. He sang praises to God, he trusted in God's love. Above in the palace, King Darius could not sleep. He paced his chamber, he worried. He prayed for the first time in a long time. He prayed for Daniel's safety. As dawn broke, Darius rushed to the lion's den. His heart pounded with dread. He called out, his voice trembling, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God rescued you?" A voice answered, strong and clear, "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me." Darius was overjoyed. He ordered Daniel to be lifted from the den. When Daniel emerged, he was unharmed, not a scratch marred his skin. The lions had not touched him. The power of God was evident. Darius knew he had witnessed a miracle. He realized the depth of Daniel's faith. He knew he had to act. He had to acknowledge the God who had saved Daniel. Darius issued a new decree. He proclaimed throughout the land that everyone should revere the God of Daniel. He is the living God, the decree read, and his kingdom will never be destroyed, his dominion will never end. Darius had learned a powerful lesson. He had seen the power of faith. He had witnessed the greatness of Daniel's God. Daniel's story is a testament to the power of unwavering faith. His journey began in a small village where he was known for his deep devotion and unshakable belief in a higher power. From a young age, Daniel felt a calling, a sense that his life was meant for something greater. He spent countless hours in prayer and reflection, seeking guidance and strength from the divine. Even in the face of danger, Daniel did not waver. When a devastating storm threatened his village, many were filled with fear and uncertainty. But Daniel stood firm, his faith unshaken. He believed that no matter how fierce the storm, God's protection would see them through. His calm demeanor and reassuring words brought comfort to those around him, reminding them that they were not alone. He trusted in God's love and protection. Each morning as the sun rose, Daniel would find a quiet place to pray, often in the beauty of nature. He felt a deep connection to the world around him, seeing it as a reflection of God's creation. In these moments of solitude, he found peace and clarity, knowing that he was part of something much larger than himself. His story reminds us to stay true to our beliefs, no matter the cost. There were times when Daniel faced ridicule and doubt from others, but he never let it shake his faith. He held on to his beliefs with a quiet strength, knowing that true faith is not about the absence of doubt, but the courage to believe despite it. His unwavering commitment inspired those around him to look within and find their own strength. It encourages us to face our fears with courage, knowing that God is always with us. Daniel's journey was not without its challenges, but each obstacle he faced only strengthened his resolve. He walked through life with a sense of purpose, confident that he was never truly alone. His faith was a guiding light, illuminating the path ahead even in the darkest of times. Daniel's faith echoes through time, inspiring us to live with courage and trust in the Almighty. His legacy is a reminder that true faith is not just about believing in something greater, but about living that belief every day. It is about finding strength in the face of adversity, hope in times of despair, and love in a world that often feels divided. Daniel's story is a beacon of hope, encouraging us all to live with unwavering faith.